Got a big old stack of 1981 to 1985 Escort, Ford Escort trim rings for wheels. Over here I got one, well, it's the EXP style, but this probably came off of like a Mustang or something, because this is for a 14-inch rim, I believe, maybe 15. But the EXP ones are 13s, and they look just like this. They got a lip on the top of it, and they're a nice round chrome. While the Escort ones are this more squared off stainless kind of vibe. Some Escorts did come with this chrome style. It's just, they were made famous by the EXP wheels. Those guys. So, well, what do you do to clean these up? Well, over time they do get foggy, hazy like this. You can't see my reflection in this, but over here is a spot where I did polish it. You can see me perfectly fine in there, at least my phone anyways. Camera doesn't catch the reflection as good as the naked eye does. And then same thing on the lip there. You can see it over here. It's cloudy. Over here it's nice and clear. All you have to do with these chrome ones is just take a little polish to them. Even where they're scratched up, polish will clean them up really good. I've tried steel wool. It puts more scratches into it than what I care for, sadly. But otherwise, steel wool is good for getting nasty stuff off, like a top layer of thin rust. Works great on that. Any areas where these chrome ones are brown. But these stainless steel ones, or stainless, they're made to look stainless. I'm not sure what they're actually made out of. They're fairly heavy, so I presume it's, not an aluminum. But I could be totally wrong. But anyhow, they all kind of look like this, and when they catch scratches, they suffer bad. It's not like the chromies where they polish out nice and clean. If you have crap like this, you have to sand it really good, and there's no way to pull out any dents like this, and because of how this ring is put on the backside, you have to separate this flange and remove this ring before, this ring, separate this flange, remove this ring, and then you're able to hammer out your dents from the underside here. And it's a really tricky process. It's hard to ensure that you have that flange, holding this guy on there nice and hard when you're done. So one of the best solutions is just to sand down all that rust stuff, because these are clear coated. Whatever metal these are, Ford just clear coats over them and then brushes the inside, or maybe brushes the inner band before clear coating them. I'm not too sure, because I've seen them in a few different ways, and some will oxidize underneath the clear coat, and I'll just go away like this one does. Some just get filthy. Some get really scratched up bad, like that critter. It's pretty rough. But yeah, definitely the best way is to sand them down. See how this one reflects light a whole lot better than this one down here. Well, I've actually taken the time to sand the top face of this critter. You can see there's still a few dents in it when you move light past it, but the dents looked a lot worse before. I was able to clean them out pretty good, and this one actually had a whole lot of scratches all the way through here in this whole area that I sanded. The scratches were, this heavy, thick stuff all the way around, at least half of the wheel. But yeah, like I said, there is a clear coat, so you can remove that clear coat any way you want. I tried paint stripper, aircraft paint stripper. None of that takes it off. Acetone doesn't really eat through it. Carb clean, brake clean. Stuff's pretty hardy. Not sure if that's what they used that makes it so great, or if it's just because it's been cured for, coming up on 40 years. But the clear coat is awfully hard to remove. So that I find the best way to go through it is to just sand it. You can try using a wire brush that leaves kind of heavy marks here, because once you use a wire brush, it leaves a kind of like a blasted metal surface. If I can get my camera to focus on this here. Here, you can see it's got some scrapes and pitting. That's what a wire wheel does. But if you take, there's another spot. But if you take the time to, sit down with 120 grit and just all the way around this many times, you will get through the clear coat. Another tool I use is a flap wheel on a Dremel. So one of these guys, if you can do that, that is an option. Or maybe you can find a bigger flat wheel with a less aggressive grit. Supposedly they're 80. Not too sure, but it cuts through the stuff pretty good and doesn't really scratch the metal too bad, surprisingly. I thought it would be as bad as the wire brush, but it wasn't too horrible. And then once you go through with that, then like I said again, you just go at it just one direction with 120, and then once you've got all those scratches out, go through it once again with 220, and then for your final pass, you're going to try something like 400. And 400, 600 is the most you're going to do on these. It leaves a very nice kind of brushed finish on these. It's very hard to pick up on camera because it gathers so much more light than it did before. But the difference is night and day when you're looking at it with the naked eye. It's a whole lot better. But if your rings are kind of nice, you can polish them. I polished this section here, and it turned out quite nice. Over here you can see it's fogged. Over here it's not. It's nice. It's great and shiny again. And then up here I did the same thing. So the Ford doesn't sand this top face at all, so it has a nice kind of semi-gloss look to it. So over here it's fogged. Over here I polished it. It's pretty nice. And then I polished a little bit of my sanding work here. And it looks alright. And then over here it's just the raw metal from after what I sanded. And it does turn out quite nice. I've actually used the same procedure on the side covers of motorcycle engines. It works real great when you do it to like these 80s Honda motors. Just sand across in only one direction over and over and over again, from 120 to 220 to 400. It leaves these guys looking as beautiful as the brushed valve covers. So, and then once you're done sanding these, you can choose to clear coat them or not. I would. I don't know if you use rust or not, but I would clear coat it, and then it would look like the inside of the band does from the factory. They all look like this, whether you choose to sand it with 400 right away, polish it, or just leave it. They all look like this. And it's pretty cool when it's all done up, but if your rim has a lot of dents but not very many scratches, then I wouldn't sand it. Dents don't stand out much in the normal finish, but when you go to sand them, they do kind of stand out a little bit. From even from far away, if I can get my camera light to work, you can see a few of those dents pretty far away. But even up close with these guys, you have to look pretty good. But if you have a whole bunch of scratches, you gotta decide if it's worth it to sand them down to nothing, or pop these apart and then go through the painstaking effort to undent them, or if you're just gonna polish them the way they are and run them. I will say these thick scratches on the non-chrome rings, they do not polish out. They just don't. They don't turn out well at all. But you can sand them out pretty quick and easy. It's just cutting through the clear coat takes forever. But once you've done that, going through all the scratches is no painstaking effort at all. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. Just getting a few ideas in your head for what you want to try, or maybe you're looking for some trim rings and you're trying to decide between the brushed ones and the chrome ones. All comes down to your taste, and if you're trying to do a factory OEM restoration or something a little different, or maybe you're doing something totally custom, there's plenty of options, but just to get you thinking.